Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Erin and I do mostly budgeting videos like the one you're about to see here. Thank you so much for spending some time with me by watching this video. I am just going to jump right into this week's income pages and we can talk about how we're going to allocate the money. I unfortunately ended up having to rewrite the entire layout, and it was because I just couldn't wrap my mind around what I was doing. I just had one of those moments where I could not concentrate. This was what I had originally written down. It's very similar, but I got really confused for some reason, and I think I just wasn't focused. I redid it. I pulled a page out of my Squad Goals big planner from last year, which I really love, and I hated to break it up, but I needed the vertical layout to match everything in the way I'm doing this. So just to kind of recap about the income that we had, this is not typical for us at all. The reason why it was higher than usual is because my husband got a portion of his unemployment back pay. So that was really helpful to us, and I decided, since we have been kind of muddling along without it, that I would use it basically to fill sinking funds. I couldn't think of a better way to put it to use. I had Grubhub at $907. That was my 7th payday with them, so pretty exciting. I'm really happy with that amount. Unfortunately, next week I probably won't have hardly any pay at all. This week has been exceptionally busy. This is my last week working from home. Number one, I had a lot of projects that I wanted to get done around the house before I return to the office next week. I do go back on 7th. I don't go back Monday, I go back Tuesday. So July 7th, I'll be returning to the office. So I'll be there all day. And I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I think it's just because I haven't been there in so long. And then, so next week's Grubhub will be next to nothing. Next week also, I don't get paid because I got paid this week, and then we'll see what happens with my husband's unemployment. So what I've decided to do is kind of double up on our variable expenses, and instead of stuffing those envelopes for 1 week, I decided to stuff them for 2 weeks. And that way, if we end up having nothing coming in next week, I'll still have enough money to get by for groceries and gas money and dog food, things like that. So Grubhub was $907. My regular paycheck was $15.16. This is my last full paycheck, probably permanently, to be honest with you. I did receive a pay cut. They said at my work that it would be valid until July of 2021, but that there would be no guarantee that we would be going back to our old rates. New pay amount will be reflected in my next paycheck. So unemployment back pay came to $31.85. So hopefully he will continue to get more of that, because he had filed for 12 weeks worth with no money coming in at all. They approved 3 weeks, and they said that he would have to appeal the rest. Now why, I have no idea, because he didn't do anything wrong and it was really on their part, but you can't really fight it, so that's what we had to do. The tax withholding that I've decided to do is 20% of Grubhub, so I decided to put $182 away. Now, I am aware that this will have to be taxed as well, but the only thing that I think we have going for us, and you know, hopefully this rings true next year come tax time, is that we get about a $2,700 refund. Can somehow end up being more of a wash. I'm totally fine with that. So I'm hoping that it kind of evens out, but I am still taking 20% at the advice of the person who does our taxes from all these side incomes. So I was doing Instacart plus Grubhub. Now I'm just doing Grubhub. So my nephew had given me $170, and that was his rent for the past 2 weeks. So I have that included, and then the total came to $57.83. Now again, this is not typical, and to me this is a huge number, and I'm super grateful for it, but it does not represent our typical income or life or anything like that. I wish, but no, unfortunately it doesn't. Because I was already working on this twice, and I had already plugged in on this old spread, I had already started stuffing some of these envelopes. So I'm going to go ahead and go over that with you guys just so you can see what's what. But unfortunately, like I said, I just could not get my mind together or just wrap my mind around what I was doing. And it was really unfortunate because I just was getting confused, and I started over a couple times, and finally I'm like, oh my gosh, let me just start fresh. I'm going to start with this amount here, the $57.83, and plug this right in. And first things first, I took $16 and I left that in our checking account. So that is in my checking account. That brought us down to $57.67. Now the next thing that's still in the bank is, so July 3rd, I left the rest of my paycheck in the bank and I transferred it to our savings, because what I like to do is have August bills worked on the month prior. So every month that we're in, like say we're in July now, I'm working on bills for August. Our July bills are already taken care of because we worked on those for June. So that's kind of what I've been doing since May. And the reason why I was able to catch up like that is because of the stimulus money. So I put that aside and I tried to get us a month ahead, just because we were in such a predicament and an unstable situation with our jobs, my husband being laid off entirely, me taking a pay cut and having to pay more into my insurance. So I decided back in May that I wanted to get ahead and, you know, use that opportunity to start paying our bills at the beginning of every month. So because July is paid for with the income we brought in June, now I'm working on August. So I'm taking $1,500 of my check and I'm putting it into this little fund, so it's in our savings account, and the total I have to come up with for August is $26.50. So not too bad. And actually it won't be too bad at all, because I have 3 pays in the month of July, so that there's an extra bonus pay in there because we have that 5th Friday, and that happens twice a year for us. You know, if you get paid bi-weekly, usually you have about 2 extra pays during the year. So from $57.67, I'm going to subtract the $1,500 for the August bills, and that brings us down to $42.67. So that's the remaining amount we have for our variables and our sinking funds. So let's get started with the cash envelopes first, because I think that that is important. And like I said, I already started stuffing these. So for groceries, I am putting in $200. And usually I stuff this with $100, but I needed to do $200 just because, like I said, it was going to be for 2 weeks. So I have $200 in here, and I wrote that on my Post-it, and this is my grocery envelope. The next thing is gas, and I ended up stuffing this with $120. Now hopefully this will end up being enough, but you know, if not, what I do if I run out of cash, you know, pre-planned cash for my expenses, is I usually use our Discover card. Even if I have money in the bank, I'll use our Discover card because we do get cash back, and we either get 1%, I believe, or 5% if it's on something that is like a special cash back offer, you know, for the month or the quarter of the year. So it actually ends up working out pretty well. Say should I run out of cash for something, I'll use the Discover and then I'll pay it off before the bill is due. That way I don't accrue any interest. So for gas, I have 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, and 20. And again, if I run out, the Discover comes in handy, but we are credit card debt free at the moment, and it took us a long time to get here. But I certainly don't want to run that up again, because I would feel really bad. I would feel pretty devastated, because it was a really long journey to get us paid off with our credit cards. So hopefully I'll always be able to go ahead and just pay it off, or at least that's what I'm going to plan to do if I ever do have to use one. So dog food is going to be $50, because usually it's $25 a week, so that's how we plan for that. And then miscellaneous, this is kind of a crapshoot, but I'm not putting anything in here. And the reason for that is I'm returning to work next week. The 4th of July holiday is over, but we do have family in town. And, you know, I just don't feel like there's anything outside these categories that I actually need to buy. Now, if something crazy comes up, or when I say crazy, I mean unexpected or unplanned for, then yeah, I'll go ahead and use the Discover and pay for it, and then I'll pay it down either with our regular savings in our account. We do have savings in our bank account. And the other thing I have to make a note of is I want to actually change banks. I'm going to take this opportunity because my bank was recently bought out, and it's kind of one of those things where it's kind of rolling over quite often and things like that. So it just becomes really cumbersome to change your routing number and your account number, and, you know, change it with all the bills that you pay online. So I think I'm going to end up changing my bank account. So I have to make a mental note of that as well. So my cash envelopes for my variable expenses are finished for the week. The money is put aside that I'm taking out this week for August bills. So these two categories are finished. So now we can get into sinking funds. And I don't think I took out anything. So let me do this again. So 5783 minus 16 minus 1500 minus 200 for groceries, minus 120 for gas, and minus 50 for dog food is, we're down to 38.97. So that's where we're sitting right now. Let's go ahead and take out the 182 for taxes, and we'll make sure that that is stuffed. And like I said, I've already done so, and I actually wrote it down for July. So 182, I had 1181 prior to that. So that brings us to 1363. As you can see, here's all the money for it. And as much as I hate to allocate this for taxes, that is what I have to do. So we'll go ahead and count it. So we need 1363 in here. We have 100, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 758, 850, 870, 890, 910, 930, 950, 970, 990, 1010. I really have to think. 1030, 1050, 1070, 1090, 1110, 1130, 1150, 1170, 1190, 1210, 1230, 1250, 1270, 1290, 1310, 1320, 1330, 1340, 1350, 1355, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, and 63. So 1363. We are right on the money. So I'm just going to slip that back into here. And I might exchange this at the bank for smaller bills just so this doesn't end up splitting. But this is my gross taxes envelope, and I just think that's kind of funny because I do feel like it's quite gross. All right, so let's go ahead and check that off. We have accounted for that. So let's go ahead to Christmas fund first. Now, as you can see, I've already written down July, adding $100, which brings us to $770. So first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the previous balance, which is $670. And then I'm going to write plus 100. And the new balance is $770. So I think that's pretty good for Christmas. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 550, 570, 590, 610, 630, 650, 670, 690, 710, 730, 750, 77. Okay. I don't know why, but when I count money like that and I jump from 50s to 20s, I always have to like slow down and think about it. It just does not come naturally to me. So let's go to dogs next. And I'll show you what's up with that. Before this, we had 344. So I'm gonna write that down. I feel so much more organized after starting over today and redoing this. I don't know, some days I think you just need to step back and take a break from it because, like I said, for whatever reason, I could not wrap my mind around what I was doing and I was making so many mistakes and it just wasn't making sense to me. So I think that was the best thing to do. Oops, see, I almost did that right there. So I'm adding 60. Let me just crash that out. Okay, so that brings me to 404. And sometimes I get like that too, like when I'm doing videos, if I'm talking too much, I just get, like my mind can't do two things at once apparently. So 100, 200, 250, 270, 290, 310, 330, 350, 360, 370, 380, 390, 395, 400, 401, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so 404 for the dogs. And again, this might be one that I take back to the bank and switch out for smaller bills. Now let's go to savings. As you can see, for July, I've added, or the first week of July, I've added $455. So the previous balance was $1,000. I'm adding $455. New balance is $1,455. Now I can say that one of the things that will come out of here eventually is new flooring for upstairs. And I think I've mentioned this several times to you guys before, but I want to put carpet in. But we have just talked about it and had some discussion. I was asking my mom's opinion. I was talking to my husband. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do ceramic tile on our second floor, but the one, like the new kind that looks like wood planks. And I just think that will be more sanitary for me with the dust, you know, because dust is one of my worst allergies. It really brings on my asthma. And of course, for the dog hair, I just think it'll be more sanitary. So I think that's what we're going to do. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to pull from here probably if it's too expensive. If I can get a 0% interest credit card, I might consider doing that. You know, if there's like a store or something that we get our flooring from and they're offering some kind of incentive like that. But I really, really hate the thought of having more credit card debt or loan debt. So we're going to see what happens. So I should have $1,455. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 550, 6, 650, 7, 750, 8, 850, 9, 950, 1,000, 50, 1, 50, 250, 270, right? Yeah, 270, 290, 310, 330, 350, 370, 390, 410, 430, 450, 455. So 1,455. It's like this $50 bill to $20 bill transition is getting me every time, but that's fine. All right, the nice thing about laying down ceramic tile is my husband's so good at that, and he's done it so many times before for us, so I think that'll work out nicely, and at least we'll be able to save on labor cost. So let's take our $37.15 and we're going to subtract 100 for Christmas. We're going to subtract 60 for dogs, and we're going to subtract $455. Now that brings us to $3,100 remaining, and that's exactly how much we're going to put into our emergency fund. So this is the rest of my money. This is the only card where I didn't actually write out the new information yet. So I'm going to put July 3rd here plus 3,100. That'll bring us to a new total of 5,900. Now, what I love about this is the fact that we have been blessed and we're fortunate enough to actually be able to fill this emergency fund as quickly as we've been doing it. The reason why I say that is because our emergency fund is the most important to me right now. And my husband and I have both been our jobs for decades. And we never thought in a million years that we would be facing the current situations that we're in for either of us. We just had a really false sense of security with our jobs. And so I realized we were so underprepared for a situation like this, or for a situation to occur again in the future. Like, it could get worse. I've already had 2 rounds of layoffs at my job, and they are there's rumors that there's going to be a 3rd in the fall. I don't know if I would survive a 3rd one. So I'm really trying to build this up. Our emergency fund goal is $18,200. That's 6 months worth of my salary, basically. And that's where I would feel comfortable building it up to, and just kind of letting that sit there. Now, once I reach that goal, I'm probably going to put this into some kind of fund where hopefully I can actually gain a little bit of interest, but we shall see. So let's see, what do we have here? I have 2 stacks of money. I think this is the new stack. So I had 2,800 before. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 750, 8, 850, 9, 950, 2,000, 50, 1, 50, 2, 50, 3, 50, 4, 50, 5, 50, 6, 50, 7, 50, 70, 90, and 8. So 2,800. All right, so that is our old amount, and we're adding 3,100. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2,000. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 3,000, 320, 340, 350, 360, 370, 380, 390, 395, 3,100. That brings us to the 5,900. So I'm going to just put the denominations together just so it's easier to count. But as I can see, that 50 to 20 transition doesn't make anything really easier to count. So that's okay. That's fine. So we'll put this like this. And actually, we do have a safe in our home, so I feel pretty good about that, but I don't know, I may end up putting this somewhere. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. That is our emergency fund for the time being. 5,900. Let's see, where's my envelope for that? Here we go. So we got that all stuffed. So that is all of our work and stuffing for this week. And like I said, next week, I may not have anything to talk to you guys about as far as income. We'll see how it goes, but of course I will be back on here just giving you guys generalized updates and things like that. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope that if you enjoyed this video, you will consider giving it a thumbs up because that really helps my channel. Also, I am doing a giveaway that's only good for a couple more days, so if you're interested in that, please check that out and take some time to enter that because it is for a super cute, adorable holiday Christmas planner, and it looks like this, and I did an entire flip through in my giveaway video, so there's the criteria in there too. You can see what you have to do to enter and qualify, and that's basically it. So I'll be back with lots more videos, and if you have any questions, please leave them down below, and I will try to get to them as quickly as possible. And I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend, and I hope your week is off to a great start, and that I see you next time. Take care.